Well, good morning. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. How are you all today? I hope you're well. Grab a cup of whatever you drink and let's talk about the chaos that's coming in 2024 because I think it is. 23 was an interesting year, has been an interesting year. We're not out of it yet, but we only have about another week or so to go. And it has kind of been, in my opinion, preparatory for what's coming. Everybody knows that the next election season is coming up, and everyone has some concerns about what's going to happen, and I think those concerns are well placed. 4 million, a caravan of 4 million people are headed our way from south of our border toward our border. If you've watched, I've put some of that information, some of the sources up on the Patreon channel. If you're with us on the Patreon channel, you've seen that. 4 million. Now, about 12,000 are coming in here now every day, and the interesting thing is where they're being sent. One of our patrons, I believe it was on the Patreon channel, said that a large number of them were dumped in Sikeston, Missouri. It's down in the Boot Hill of Missouri. If you're not familiar with what Missouri looks like, it's down in the deep Ozarks. Well, it's in the Boot Hill. It's not exactly in the Ozarks. A little to the east of where you really. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's where the little squib of Missouri goes down into Arkansas, and then Tennessee to the east. So they dumped a bunch of illegals into Sikeston, Missouri. Sikeston, Missouri is not the place that you would think that they would be sending illegals, but it reveals their plan, and that is they're sending them to the places that they think they can cause the most disruption and chaos within those communities that are, shall we say, the most pro-American. Okay, interesting, very interesting. If they're doing that, and if they've been doing that for quite a while, what effect are 4 million who are going to have? There's no way that communities around are going to be able to deal with that effectively. It's going to create chaos, but that's not the only chaos that's coming. Did you see, have you been following the new flag of Minnesota? Now, Minnesota, interesting state. I don't know how they went so wacky up there. My wife's family's from Minnesota. They have just adopted a new flag. And the flag, a lot of people are saying how close it is to the flag of Somalia. And it is. What a lot of people are missing, however, I haven't heard anybody say it's also similar in design to the Palestinian flag. Now, Minnesota is full of Somalis, and how that came to be doesn't matter. It was an orchestrated effort to essentially take over a state, which they effectively have. When I was up in St. Cloud a couple of years ago for Kelly's family's reunion, I went to a Walmart and I thought I was in Mogadishu. I'm not kidding. I mean, it was just amazing. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. I know there's good people up in Minnesota. I know there are some, but for a bunch of people. Now, the interesting thing is, and I'm not going to slam anybody here at all, but it's interesting to see how different groups, different ethnic groups respond in different ways. And we've seen that those from the Scandinavian countries have a tendency to be a little more socialist, right? Right? The Vikings were not the independent people you would think they were. They were actually, although they introduced peace and farming into the wilder areas of Europe. I won't get off on that. I could talk for an hour on that. But the people that settled Minnesota were, a lot of Garrison Keillor types. And to be honest, if you know who Garrison Keillor was, Prairie Home Companion, they were just hardworking people that, kind of went along and got along and everything like that. And as a result, they have been taken over. They weren't the hard scrabbles that you find farther down south. But these people are coming down south too, and pretty much all of America has been softened up a lot over the last 50 years. But anyway, I wrote in my books, for those of you who have read them, about a Somali warlord. After the collapse of everything, a Somali warlord attempting to create a new caliphate, and coming down south from Minnesota through Iowa down into the area where most of my books take place, Kansas and Missouri. Wrote that years ago, and I'd suggest if you haven't read them. Read them. But we're seeing that, and we're going to see that spread. A cyber attack, a major cyber attack, preceding the elections of 2024, for either of the reasons, and I've heard people posit the opinion, well, there's going to be a major cyber attack, and there's not going to be any elections. A cyber attack, and they don't necessarily put those two together, but I will say that a cyber attack is the only reason that there won't be elections. The people who say, well, they're not going to let elections happen, yes, they are. There will be elections because the other side was saying the same thing. Trump's not going to let there be any elections, and now people are saying Biden's not going to let there be any elections. Yeah, there will be elections unless there's a cyber attack. Now, a cyber attack, we have, we're under attack every day, right? We have. So what we're talking about is a successful cyber attack. And there have been successful cyber attacks. If you can find it online, you can see a kind of a graphic of all the cyber attacks that are coming into our country and where they're coming from. Now, don't take that as gospel, because realize that this is information that's being made available to the public. They never let all of the truth be made available to the public. But it is interesting if you see all the cyber attacks. Also, that they will use that as their own propaganda. If they want us all to hate Russia, they're going to show that more cyber attacks are coming from Russia. If they want us to hate China, they're going to show more coming from China. If they want us to hate Rooster Poo, Wisconsin, I tell you what, they're going to make them all come from Rooster Poo, Wisconsin. I want to give credit to somebody. I wrote it down, and I should go back and get it. Somebody, one of our valued viewers, and in the future, I'll look it up and give him credit. He says, hey, when you're thinking about because I said something about, if you're living in two corners, wherever. He says, if you're looking for a theoretical place, he had a teacher that always talked about Rooster Poo, Wisconsin. I thought that was great. So, if they want everybody to hate Rooster Poo, Wisconsin, they're going to make it look like all the cyber attacks are coming from Rooster Poo, right? It's just the way that they work. Intelligence is a crazy game, and a dirty game, and a complicated game. But where these cyber attacks are going to come, we know that it doesn't take a major power to be able to launch cyber attacks. We have a lot of enemies in the world. We've made a lot of enemies in the world. One of the statements from that stupid Obama movie, Leave the World Behind, that I agreed with, was we've made a lot of enemies in the world. We have. We didn't have to make them. We made them. We stuck our nose and our foot in other people's business more than we needed to, all to make money for the military-industrial or security-industrial complex, or the medical-industrial complex, or the agricultural-industrial complex, all of these things. And we've made a lot of enemies. All the time our people said, we're making friends. No, we've been making enemies right and left. And a lot of them, would love to take down our grid. So a major successful cyber attack in 2024, I think, is a definite possibility. I would say so much. None of us can be certain about anything in the future, right? We can't see the future. But I will just say this: I would be surprised if we don't get hit by either a major successful cyber attack or quite a few small ones. Okay, now and think about what that means, and then think about what you can do to mitigate that. Does it hit? Does it hit your banking system? Does it hit water systems? We had one, I forget where it was. Doesn't matter. It happened someplace. That's the important thing. I mean, it matters to the people who live there, but on the grand scheme of things, there was one successful attack against a water treatment plant. What if they are able to do that? All these small attacks, they are learning from. They are learning how to attack. And a lot of these are probes. Maybe there are a lot of probes for the big one. It's hard to know. But as they probe this, as they find softer targets, and they can create havoc without targeting our main defense systems. If they take out a hospital system, if they take out the medical information system, if they take out the banking system, if they take down the credit and debit card systems. I know somebody just came on, somebody's furiously typing, that's why I don't use debit cards. Okay, well, 99.9999% of the world does, because that's what we do nowadays. It's kind of like the guy that said, I won't use coins and dollars because I only use gold. Okay, well, stay back and whatever. They take down that system, boy, you can understand what happens, right? If they take down the internet, everything stops, because all major commerce and industry is dependent on the internet. Even if they have electricity, if they don't have the internet, it's over for a while, until they get it back up. But the disruptions that it could be caused, are monumental. Now, is it possible that they could launch cyber attacks, successful cyber attacks, that we would not be able to remedy in a in a fairly quick amount of time? I don't know. Anything is possible. And I think that that's what we need to be thinking about. We need to be thinking, okay, if this goes down, what do I do? If this goes down, what do I do? Just war game it in your head about this. This is why it's important, to have cash on hand. I have always, way back, and I've mentioned it many times, and it's one of the first lessons in my first book, is have cash. Have cash on hand. If you don't have it in your hand, you don't have it. Okay? What if your bank goes down? What if the internet goes down? If you don't have cash, you're not going to be able to do anything. Okay? If you do have cash, you'll probably be able to do a lot, for people who will assume, well, it's all going to come back up. Yes, I will take cash for this tank of gas, if electricity, but you might not be able to pump, because that also runs on internet. Your dishwasher, right? Get out the old sponge. Books. Have books. Have cash, have books. Books can't be taken down. I just saw over here in my bookshelf an old set of the Foxfire books that I've had since the first one came out. I don't know, was that in the 70s, something like that? I gave a set to my dad way back when they first came out. And I have a set of 3 over here. They're just interesting, fascinating books. There's a lot of books that can help you out there. And so this is where it's important to have resources that you can refer to, references you can refer to, that aren't dependent on the internet. Foxfire books are great. The Boy Scout Handbook is great. I mean, back when the Boy Scout Handbook was actually about doing things and not social issues, right? If you have I have notebooks that I've put together for all sorts of things. While you have the internet, do something with it. Print out a large. First off, get medical books. Get first aid books. Get emergency services books. But then, in addition to that, look up things, and I suggest this, medicinal herbs, medicinal uses of whatever. Print them out, get hard copies. We are coming into a time, and it goes on and on and on. Just think about the things that you rely on, and if you can get a hard copy of it, do so. If you haven't already, get started. Be able to protect yourself. Be able to last quite a while if the grocery stores aren't open. Now, here's one of those things that is not necessarily, run off to the boonies. And I'll do another one about that later. But it's a matter of, there you are. Most of you live in cities and suburbs. If there's a cyber attack, you may not have heat in your house, you may not have electricity, you may not have water supply. Are you prepared for all of that? Because I don't think there's ever been a time that we are in greater danger of a massive cyber attack. Now here's where here's where the big question is. Is it going to be it will be an enemy of the American people, but will that enemy be foreign or domestic? I know a lot of you have already been thinking about that, haven't you? That's right. Will it be foreign, or will it be the ones we used to think were on our side? I'd give you even odds on that. Even odds. Or is it going to be a foreign actor that our domestic people see coming and give it the big ole? Let it happen. So they can blame somebody else. We have proof that it was, whoever. And now we're going to war. Well, so we have a crumbling of America from the inside, attacks on America from the outside, aiding and abetting the invasion of America from our southern border by the people who are supposed to be protecting us, who are charged constitutionally with protecting our border. We have a separation now, just as I talked about the other day. Abbott down in Texas signed a bill into law, giving Texas law enforcement the legal authority to arrest illegals for coming into Texas. Good. So we're having a separation of states from the federal government. If this isn't a perfect storm of chaos to bring down the collapse of our country, like the man says, it'll do till the perfect storm gets here, right? Okay. So 2024, I know a lot of people are predicting this. Something's going to happen in 2024. I think that it would be a big surprise if it didn't. And so you have to redouble your efforts from this point to prepare to be self-sufficient in every area you can think of. We know what those areas are, right? Food, water, shelter, medical, people. Well, I'm gonna do a video on the 7 B's here. I'll do that later. Defense and people, basically. And the 7 B's were something that we kind of made up here on this channel. There's probably more. I'm gonna ask. We have a chat feature over on the Patreon channel, and I'm probably going to use that to ask people, hey, do you have another B you want to add to that? Because I think I'm going to write a book on it. Anyway, be prepared for this. I think 2024 is the year that it could actually happen. I've never made a prediction like that before, and I could be wrong. But you just look at an accumulation of evidence and see what it points to. And I think that there's just too many threats out there now for something major not to happen. So get yourselves together and get ready for it and firm everything up. Before I let you go, reminder, and these things are just blowing up, that this and all my videos are brought to you by my books, the Stonemont series, The Reversion, the Revival, The Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, The Blessings of Freedom, and Hostages to Fortune. The complete plan for preparing for, surviving, and rebuilding, which is so important after a complete collapse of everything. Pretty much everything that we talk about, I talk about and I cover in detail in these books. As 6 novels, like I say, the complete plan for it all, and plus you'll like the story. They're available, and I just I'm waiting for the new shipment because you all wiped me out. I ran out of books again. Here, you can get them through Amazon, and it's blowing up over there too. The link is down below, or you can get them directly from me. You'll get them fast from Amazon. You'll get them signed if you get them from me on our stonemont.us website, stonemont.us. And with that, get out there and get something done. Be ready for it. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And there's no reason for you not to live well, no matter what happens in the world around you. It all depends on how you prepare for it. It's up to you. It's your responsibility. So get at it. And I'll talk to you tomorrow if a major cyber attack doesn't hit us. Okay? Y'all have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.